Hello to everyone out there. Are you ready to get every single promise God has for you? Are you ready to get promise after promise after promise, financially, physically, spiritually, in every area of your life? Well, I have a word for you. This word is so simple and it has so much volume and is so weighty. But the word is this: choose to suffer. And what am I talking about when I say choose to suffer? I'm not talking about if you're in a abusive situation, please get out of the situation. I'm not talking about that type of suffering. If you are, if you're very sick and you need to go to the doctor, please go see your doctor. If you have mental health issues and you need the help of a psychiatrist, go see the psychiatrist. That is not the type of suffering I am talking about. The type of suffering I'm talking about when I say choose to suffer is you're a Christian, you've been praying, you've been seeking the Lord, you go to church, you can be a usher, a deacon, a pastor, a preacher, but you're at a time where you are tested. And at the moment you feel like that because you don't have a certain desire, that you are suffering in some kind of way, in some kind of area. This is who I'm talking to. But I'm telling you, at this very moment, you need to choose to suffer. I remember when I was we had a family vacation. I went to Disneyland, and it was the new Cars ride that was open. And I was kind of like, I wanted to ride the ride so bad because I knew that we were not coming back for a while. So I was just like, I don't know. But everybody was like, let's do it. So we got in line, and man, we waited and waited and waited. And truthfully, it was suffering. Some of the spots in the line wasn't shaded, so you was just in a direct heat. And then, we did trivias and we did rock, paper, scissors. We did everything, just waiting and waiting for this ride. And it was just like, it was suffering. But long story short, it took 4 hours, 4 whole hours just to get to the front of the line. And finally, we got on the Cars ride, and it was an amazing ride. But I don't think it was worth my 4 hours in line, taking that long to get on the ride, but it was a cool ride. But at that moment, I had to choose to suffer. If you look at some of the greatest boxers, some of the greatest fighters, when they train and they go through exhausting training, they go through hours upon hours of training before the fight. They have to choose to suffer. So when they actually get into that ring, that they will show how many skills, they basically show what they've actually learned, what they actually achieved, what they actually trained for. You see, when Jesus was about to go and be crucified, he had to choose to suffer. The Roman government didn't have the power to crucify him. The religious community did not have the power to crucify him. But Jesus chose to suffer. He chose to go through it. It was God's will for his life to be a sacrifice. And after he suffered, he was crowned and seated at the right hand of power of God. All power, all authority, a name that's above every name. Jesus chose to suffer. And that's the idea that I'm trying to relate to you, that you need to choose to suffer. It's a mature it's a mature choice to choose to suffer. Nobody wants to go through it. We got our own desires, we have our own passions, we got stuff that we used to do that that can feel better than the situation that we're in right now. But God has been taking care of us. He's been working with us. He's been transforming us. He's been leading us. He's been guiding us. And now we've come to this point, this fork in the road. And I want to tell you and encourage you how to get through this bump. You must choose to suffer. And what does that look like? It looks like you say, God, I'm going to go through it. I'd rather suffer than turn back because I don't have a certain thing that I want right now. I'd rather suffer than go back and hang with some old friends and do some old things to medicate myself and make me feel better for a month or a few months or for a year. I would rather suffer than to turn around and go backwards when I know God is leading me somewhere. I'm telling you at this moment, choose to suffer. This is a word for this season, but it's going to be a word for the rest of your Christian life. You're going to come to these points where you're going to have to make a choice, and whatever desires you have in your heart may not be fulfilled. You may feel like you are suffering in some kind of way, but if you choose to suffer, there is a blessing on the other side. The blessings of the Lord makes rich and add no sorrow. And even if there's not a big, huge blessing on the other side, you still know that you still have the knowing that you are pleasing the Savior, that you chose to walk with God. You chose to continue with God. You chose to have faith in God. Now, I just want to read a couple of scriptures, and I won't keep you for long. It just says, Matthew 16:24, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Matthew 10:39 says, he that finds his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. Mark 8:36 says, for what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and lose his own soul? What am I telling you? I'm telling you the secret to possessing every single promise. It's not going to always feel good. It's not going to always feel right. Our situation we may feel like it's just not going anywhere. But as we begin, number one, to have a grateful attitude, thanking God for everything that we have. Number two, walking in humility, standing in the mindset of a servant. Number three, continually fellowshipping with the Lord. You will see whatever mountain, whatever valley, whatever giant, you will see the greatest victory you've ever seen. But the mature choice is to choose to suffer. Well, I just want to encourage you today